In this lesson, we will discuss probability rules. So there are four probability rules we will discuss one by one. The first one is the probability of any event E is a number, either a fraction or decimal between and including 0 and 1. What does it mean? That probability ranges from 0 to 1. If the event is certain, then the probability is 1. If event is not certain, probability is 0, but we will discuss in the next slide. So first rule is the range of the probability lies between 0 to 1, and it is denoted by probability of E. E means event. See how we read it. If I say 4 is lesser than 5, if we will read from left to right, so we will say 4 is lesser than 5. But if I will read from right to left, I will say 5 is greater than 4. So from this side, it is greater than. From this side, this symbol is less than. And if I will put a line under this sign, it means from here lesser than or equal to. From here, if I will read from this direction from right to left, I will say greater than and equal to. Right? So it is denoted by probability of E is greater than equal to 0 or less than equal to 1. Probability of event can be less than 1 but is equal to 1. So it means it lies between 0 to 1. Probability of E is greater than equal to 0 and probability of E is less than equal to 1. This is rule number 1. Rule number 2 is the sum of the probabilities of all the outcomes in the sample space is 1. Now what does it mean? Sample space means all total possible outcomes of an event. Just like we can take the example of a coin. If I flip a coin, so there are two possible outcomes, head or tail. So if I say head will come, so I will write down 1 over 2 because there is a 50% chances. Why I divided by 2? Because we have only two sample space, head or tail. If I say head will come, we will write down 1 by 2. If I say tail will come, I will write down 1 by 2. And then you have to add this 1 by 2, 1 by 2, which is equal to 1. So the sum, see the sum of the probabilities of all the outcomes in the sample space. We have to add all the outcomes in the sample space. It should be equal to 1. We can take the example of a die. In die we have 6 sides, right? So what is the probability that the 1 will come? I will write down 1 over 6. What is the probability then 2 will come? 1 over 6. Why 6? Because there are 6 sides, 6 sample space. For 3, similarly for 4, I will write down 1 over 6. Similarly for 5, and the last is 6. What is the probability that 6 will come? 1 over 6. So these are all the sample spaces. If I will add it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why? Because denominator is same. So it will be equal to 6 over 6, and when we will simplify it, we will get 1. So the sum of the probabilities of all the outcomes in the sample space is 1. This is rule number 2. Rule number 3 is if an event E cannot occur, then the probability is 0. But if an event E is certain, then the probability of E is 1. So these are the 4 rules. Now we will discuss these rules with the help of some examples. Rule number 1. It says the probability ranges from 0 to 1. When the probability of an event is close to 0, its occurrence is unlikely. Right? Suppose if I say when I will roll a die, 7 will come. There is no 7 in a die. It means its probability is 0. When the probability of an event is 0.5, I flip a coin and the head will come. The probability is 0.5, 50%. And when the probability of an event is close to 1, the event is highly likely to occur. This is rule number 1. Rule number 2, In rolling a single die, what is rule number 2? When we have to add the sample space, it should be equal to 1. So same example is here. Each outcome in the sample space has a probability of 1 by 6, which I have shown you here. 1 by 6, 1 by 6. At the end, we will get 1. In the case of a coin, 1 over 2, head, half percent, head will come, half percent, tail will come. At the end, we will get 1. So this is the rule number 2. Total of the outcome equal to 0. And what is the rule number 3? If an event E cannot occur, probability is 0. If the event E is certain, probability is 1. So rule number 3, if the event doesn't occur, right? When a single die is rolled, what is the probability of getting a number greater than 6? There is no number. In die, we have only 6 numbers. We don't have number greater than 6. So it means the probability is 0. Since all sample space I have mentioned here, it is impossible having greater than 6, so the probability is 0. Rule number 4, if the event is certain, probability should be 1. When a single die is rolled, what is the probability of getting a number less than 8? So all numbers in a die, they are less than 1. So when we make the total, 1 over 6 plus 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6, so at the end we will get 1. So the probability numbers less than 8 is equal to 6 over 6, which is equal to 1. The event of getting a number less than 8 is certain. So we have discussed 4 rules of probability. The first rule is the range of the probability lies between 0 to 1. Second rule is when we add or make a sum of all the sample space, the outcomes of all the sample spaces should be equal to 1. Rule number 3, if the event is not certain, probability is 0. If the event is certain, then the probability is 1. So it means the probability lies between 0 to 1. If you still have any question, you can write down in comment section. But please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, Saima Academy. Thanks for watching.